Welcome to the Amplifying Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Tara Lehman, a partner, coach, and consultant at Twin Life Coaching and Business Services, of which Amplifying Leadership is a division. This podcast is a place dedicated to amplifying your leadership through our guest stories, tips, information, and more. To learn more about our leadership division, please visit us at amplifyingleadership.ca. Today, I am welcoming Luba Patlakh-Kaplun, a speech language pathologist, the founder and director of Kidology Inc., which is a pediatric practice specializing in speech, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and ABA services. Welcome to Amplifying Leadership.
Thanks so much for that awesome intro. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Of course. Why don't we share with our audience a little bit about you, a little bit about leadership for you and what that means?
Yeah, so my name is Luba Patlakh-Kaplun. I'm a bilingual Russian-speaking speech language pathologist, so I speak both Russian and English with my clients. I am now the proud owner and founder over the last 10 years of a business called Kidology Inc., which specializes in speech therapy, occupational, physical therapy, and ABA in our clinics here in the Pennsylvania, Philadelphia-based area. And we are a two-time Inc. 5000 business. So that's my
Woohoo!
leadership for you. It's been a wild ride. I've been able to build a really exciting and progressive community of families and therapists that are here to help children with different needs get ahead in life and make sure that they meet their developmental milestones.
That's awesome and certainly something that's needed. So appreciate what you do for sure.
Thank you so much.
Let's get to talking about leadership today. And I love a topic that you chose, which was giving back to, as a leader. Let's
Yes.
start with telling our audience what do you mean by that?
I think that when you have a gift or you're educated in a certain area, so it could be very big financial person or an engineering brain. In my case, it was a therapeutic brain and a heart. I was able to and continue to give back to my community because I want to see people and children succeed. I know that life is very hard as it is in the day in, day out. And then if you add a developmental need or a diagnosis, it's just that much harder. So, what better way to better tomorrow than by giving back, giving ourselves to the children of today to ensure that they have a good future ahead of them?
I love that. I love that very much. Tell me, how does this fit in? What is it a leader can do to give back to their community? Because I think you're right. I think businesses, they shine when they give back, right? Either to their team
Yes.
or to their community. So tell us a little bit about how people can actually do that.
I think that when you become a successful or established business and you have a community around you as a leader, it's crucial to get involved in outreach in your communities, and or if your business is extended, make sure you're reaching out to a good cause or helping people in need. When your business is making money or when you're putting out waves and people know who you are and you have a responsibility within what you're working on, it also becomes your responsibility to give a percent of that to someone else. Because
Hmm.
what's the saying? You pay it forward for,
Yes.
and hear me out here, because it's not as simple as like I paid for somebody's coffee behind me, but it's along the same line. Because these people that come to my business, Kinology, for example, they trust us with their children, with their future, with their insurance, whatever, all of the things that we work on.
Mhm.
And in return, because we're able to get the volume of people that trust us, that we've built rapport with, we can then throw a fundraiser for the community, give back to autism, give back to cancer. We work with a lot of different foundations, and we're so proud of that. And I really believe that a strong leader doesn't always take the whole cake, but make sure that half of it goes somewhere more important.
That's a really good analogy too, is just making sure that you're giving back in some way. Like businesses, if
Yes,
they're doing well, let's take care of our community too. And all that does is give you a better reputation. It's great
absolutely.
public relations for any business, right? I want to
I
come back
agree.
to the pay it forward because I
Yes.
remember one time and I did pay for something for somebody, but it wasn't the coffee behind me. There was a mother and a young child in front of me at the grocery store, and he wanted this
Mm,
orange, and that's all it was. But it was more expensive at the time. And she said, "We don't have enough money for it." And I felt
Oh,
so horrible. I'm like, no, I'm paying for that,
I got it. Yeah.
right?
Oh, that's
So
so sweet.
it's a different type of pay it forward, I think, when we do it for the community in a different way, right? What are your thoughts around like even teams giving back?
I think that when it really, I'm a big believer in the spirits and energy also. I have to say
Hmm.
that because if your mindset is proper, then you already understand what you're asking. So for
Hmm.
me, I know that the energy that I will fuel by giving back, whether it's to my community or to my team, like hiring a coach to go through some kind of special programming with them to get everybody revved up and get their mindset right, that only
Hmm.
feeds back to the business. Now everybody's in a good feeling, everybody's has high spirits, and everybody's manifested good things, and that drives for your team through leadership a stronger image, a stronger presence, and generally stronger quarter. So that's
Hmm.
exactly
Yeah.
what we want to do.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Let's talk about some challenges that leaders are facing right now with giving back,
So
whether that be to the community or to their own teams. What are some of the challenges that people are facing right now that you're seeing?
I think that generally the pool of the people that we're hiring today, and maybe
Hmm.
it's just post COVID, we can attest it to that. I mean, it's been some time, and I feel like maybe a year ago, it seemed like the market of the pool of hirees was stronger again. But there's a lot of a sense of entitlement almost in the people that we're hiring, and maybe it's just
Hmm.
around the therapists that we're finding. But people have very high expectations, but their margins and their own expectations of themselves are not as high as the things that they want. And I always tell the same story. Like I started from the bottom, now we're here.
Hmm.
Nobody handed me a dollar. Nobody handed me a manual. Everything that I did, I put together into play myself. I had an idea,
Hmm.
I wanted to accomplish it, and I took strides, made phone calls, met people, did everything possible to get there. I held myself to a high expectation and a low margin. Oh, if I get paid a little bit along the way, it'll pay it forward later and I'll do better later.
Hmm.
Today, the population of kids, maybe because the parents were successful and there's a sense of entitlement, fine. But if you want to get out in the workforce, you can't come in with your nose in the air. You have to be willing to put the work in. And a
Hmm.
good boss and a good leader will always recognize that work. But if you come in with all these expectations and demands, but your ethic is low, unfortunately, that doesn't win. And I personally feel that we're all facing that. I think that we're seeing a lot of people who come in and have high expectations of what they're supposed to get, but they're just not willing to work for it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a huge challenge too, because as we want to give back to people, we can't when we're having to spend all this time or energy or whatever that looks like in trying to push someone's initiative because they come in feeling that they are owed, so to speak, right? It's the initiative that is one of those things that can be really difficult. And giving back is part of some organizations such as yours. This is what we do. If you have a person in
Absolutely.
there who doesn't have initiative and doesn't want to do that, that can hurt a team. So that's it. I
You're
can see
right.
that as being a huge challenge.
We struggle with this a lot right now, I will say, because first of all, every business, when they bring on people to a new job or a new situation, they have to put in time, effort, energy,
Hmm.
money to get that person up to a certain level so they can take the role. So that initial babysitting period, that orienting time, is also a benefit to the individual, but they don't want to see it that way. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, that's where we run into a lot of barriers because people give up so quickly. Oh, well, why am I being treated like this? I don't want to be babysat. Well, you just came somewhere new, give it a shot, review what you have to do,
Hmm.
and then wow people. If you take things into your own hands and you say, hey, I have an idea, and you're coming with ideas and solutions and initiative, great word,
Hmm.
that's one thing. But it's just a struggle because you spend so much time and a lot of people, they don't stick. And then,
Hmm.
but as an owner and a leader, you can't get upset over those things. You have to keep moving. That's the nature of the
Yeah.
business. You can't own a business if you're not ready for the swinging door because it does happen.
Yeah, it does happen for sure, especially if there's not an alignment with that person and what your values are or the
Right.
organization's values for sure. So let's say we have a business, we are a leader, we have a business owner. We've never given back before, but we've always thought about it. Are there some strategies or some stepping stones that we can take that maybe we can start small where we're not feeling overwhelmed by either the work involved or by the financial involved with it? Are there some small strategies or stepping stones you can share today?
Yeah, I think, and especially how we started, I remember one of the first, I've always wanted to do like a big toy drive for the local hospital or
Mm,
raise money for the hungry or do, the food drive. Right now, it's really popular to do the Make-A-Wish where you donate money
yeah.
and the kiddos, you get a wish list for kiddos and you can send them Christmas gifts because they don't have the
Hmm.
ability to get them otherwise. So those are larger scale. But something as simple as a small toy drive, and you can assign, it can go out as a newsletter to the whole company or your surroundings, whoever you're with, communicating with, or working with, and essentially set up kind of like a secret Santa, but not for you guys, or a secret, everybody donates $10, $15. And it goes to a cause local to you, or it could be a large organization that's
Hmm.
nationwide. But that's a great stepping stone where you ask everybody that's surrounding you and your business to kind of step outside of their own personal need for just a second. And something as small as $15 is not a lot of money today. And it's
Hmm.
somebody's lunch, but that's about giving back. You're putting your needs aside just for 1 second to for the greater good. And if you can all collectively do it, and you as a business owner say, if everybody raises, I'll double it. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
now you have something worthwhile to give. And those organizations are so, so happy. And you build that relationship. And then generally you could come back and year after year work with them and it gets bigger. You have different ideas. Or that can be the stepping stone into doing something else. Maybe you do all go down to the soup kitchen and devote your time or
Hmm.
organize a fundraiser for something else. It really depends on what missions are important to you. And I think that's the first thing you need to discover. What do I want to donate to and benefit? And then once you have that, you can start to take small steps in that direction. And if you're really lost, you could always ask AI, hey, I want to do a donation. Are there any good charities near me? And that what better way? AI is amazing. I love it. I don't know about you, but I
Yes,
think that's a
yes.
great way to incorporate. Also, if people want to do something, but they don't always have the right idea, you just ask and it tells you.
Yeah. And it saves a lot of time. If you don't
Oh
know
my God.
even locally, like who needs my money, or are there places where I can donate, children's gifts? Put it in chat or something, and it will just tell you what's
Yes.
local for you. I mean, that's a great way to save a little time. Love these small steps that can build into bigger ones as well. I think that that's a great thing too. I remember doing a great big one years ago in one of my organizations I was with, and it was awesome. Let's talk about how, and maybe this is the selfish side of business, and that is okay, but let's talk about how this can boost our reputation and boost our business.
So when you work with all these different organizations, you tend to become kind of a spectacle because if you're a sponsor of a charitable event, or if you're a big donor, or if you've raised any money, they give you an opportunity to list your logo or put a bio
Hmm.
in about yourself. And then in that sense, you are building buzz to your brand name and you and your, team. So that part of it is, well, I donated, so now I got recognized. Yes, it's a bit selfish, but it's important for people to recognize what brands are associated with their message and who's willing and wants to be a part of teams
Hmm.
that raise money and can participate and come to an event that means something outside of their job. So while selfish, I think it builds connections, it builds opportunities, and I think that it's goes to say it is a valuable thing to have.
And it helps the community or
And
our team,
absolutely, yeah, that's the first and
right?
foremost thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, we can have that selfish piece, but all that selfish piece is saying that I care, is what it's
right.
saying. My business
That's right.
cares. And that's what's really, really important. I want to talk it.
I,
Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
at one point, my finance manager came to me and she's like, "I know you have a big heart and you want to donate to all these people, but like we gotta like hit the
Oh,
brakes a bit, you know?" And I was like, I do. I think it's so important to give back because it does give you a sense of community, like I said. And then the more you later in life, like after college and after you already kind of have your friend group or your kids stop going to all those birthday parties where you make friends with all these new moms, Your circle has to be initiated by the people that you're surrounding yourself
Mhm.
with. And if you want to be around other successful people, people that care about something that matters, you market and work with people in these organizations. And that goes such a long way because every person that's also donating or works there has a different circle that you may not know. And as a good leader, spread your wings to all those people and
Mhm.
they will come and flock to you too.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to switch this to workplace culture now because
Yes.
when we give back as an organization, when we, participate as a group to get all that food and or presents, whatever that is, how does that boost the culture? What does it do for the workplace culture?
For us, well, because already we are such a company with such a big heart, we care so much about the children that come, their various needs, their parents, counseling their families. I think that the culture here at Kidology specifically is this big, loving community. And every time we get together to do something, go to an event, help somebody, help a family, it really boosts the morale because I think that everybody's so excited to be able to give themselves a piece of themselves to these other people or family or organization. And it helps us come together even closer, I think.
Hmm. And it really, because you deal with children, it really does make that impact even greater. What about organizations that are dealing with adults and business to business? How can that help build their culture? Is it the same? Is it different?
I think it knocks people down to their core a little bit because when it's like, oh, it's a weekend event, I don't want to go. And you're like, come on, we're all going to go together. It is a team building. And even if you work with adults or finance or something different other than pediatrics, there is definitely a way that every company has a core and that core builds up. So you can't have a house built on a weak foundation. And
Hmm.
without a strong foundation and the constant, glue getting tighter together, you'll fall apart. So I think that it doesn't really matter what profession you're in. I think that having camaraderie and people working on this something together, it counts for something and it
Yeah.
builds a stronger team overall.
Yeah, I find it builds a lot of morale too, and especially if you're
Yeah.
trying to do it so that you can gift something to somewhere else or to donating to somewhere, things like that. I think it really does build the morale and the trust within the team too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's sum this all together because I think this was a fantastic conversation about giving back to our communities, to our teams. Do you have any hot tips, for people who I want to do this, I want to get started, or even just giving back to their own teams? What are those hot tips that you might have?
I think that it's so important to recognize who you have on your team. Sitting down and either having one-on-one conversations or
Mm.
alone and kind of like looking at the pillars of who these people are. You could print out a picture of their face and then name each person on your team. Like, for example, me, I always say I'm the heart of the company because I get the
Ah,
blood flowing and all the veins. And
yeah.
if you start there and you have a recognition of value, almost
Mhm.
a noun value for a person on your team, it helps you understand who they are and how to work with them to build leadership, to build whatever it is that you need in the company. Because before you can do those things, you have to understand who you have in front of you. Because if you have somebody who likes to be outside and garden, you're not going to put them, in the electric closet. That
Mm,
doesn't make any
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's an odd analogy, but I was trying to get my
No, but it
point
makes
across.
sense. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a good
so
analogy. Yeah.
if you know who you're working with, like that is my biggest hot tip. Know your audience because
Mhm.
from there, and as a business owner and leader, I've had to learn this time and time again, being in business over 10 years, you might have hired a great person, but they could be wrong for the job that they have. So
Mhm.
you need to recognize the traits and you need to recognize who you have so that you can work forward with them. And similarly, in this situation, to get started, you need to know who's there, what they're capable of, and what their interests are. And then from there, you can work together to figure out where you're going to give back, how you're going to work in the company, what kinds of things are important to them. That if,
Mhm.
like almost like a work love language, like the regular
Mhm.
romantic love languages, but like a work one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you say know your audience, by the way, because you really do need to understand. I remember when we were doing, um, we were collecting for some organization. I can't remember what it was at the time. And people were like, but I don't support that organization, or they put too much money into their admin staff, or whatever the cases were.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so knowing your audience, like we could have been trying to get money to donate, we wouldn't have gotten hardly any because people didn't appreciate the place we were going to donate
It
to.
didn't
So
matter to them. Right. And
exactly.
that's exactly my point. That's a great
Yeah.
example of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have to ask, we have to say, what motivates you? What do you like? What are your
Yes.
interests? Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for a great conversation. I hope a lot of businesses and leaders out there will consider giving back to the community in some way. Give back to people who need it right now as well, because there's a lot of people in
Yeah.
need, especially this time of year. So I appreciate the conversation today. If our audience did want to learn more about you, Kidology, is there a way they can find you online somewhere?
Yes, they can. And please do. I have a pretty big social presence and I'm constantly excited to meet new people and hear from you. So I'll
Yeah,
answer any questions. My Instagram name is Kidology Queen. Yes, that's right.
love it.
Kidology Queen. And we also have a pop-in page for Kidology Inc., such as KIDOLOGYINC. We're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on LinkedIn. Find us everywhere. You could also visit my website, which is just lubapatlakh.com, or kidologyinc.com for more information about us and our initiatives this season.
And I'm just going to spell your name for your website, LubaPatlakh.
That's right.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for all the information and some great motivation and inspiration today. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Of course, we thank you, our audience. We do hope that you gain some valuable insights or information from today's conversation with Luba. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a great rating. This helps us and our guests like Luba reach even more leaders with these helpful stories, tips, and advice. We do love helping other leaders grow and thrive. Leadership is better when we do it together. So we would love for you to consider our brand new Amplifying Leadership Circle community. More information on the community and all of our services can be found at amplifyingleadership.ca. Until next time, remember, leadership matters.